Welcome, everyone. We are Talking XP, and we are here to discuss some games, movies, and D&D. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm the host, Johnny, and we have Ryan with us. How you doing?
Pretty dang good.
Right on. Zach, how you doing?
Oh, hi there. Welcome. Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Daniel, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Right
Yeah.
on. Glad to hear it.
Thanks.
Glad to hear it. So moving to our schedule, we actually have pretty substantially increased how much content we're releasing. We're streaming much more often now. So go ahead and check out our Twitch channel. You can see us streaming every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time and every Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight Savings Time. But specifically to our podcast, we release these every third Tuesday of each month. And yeah, we also release our one shot of the month on the last Wednesdays so far. Now, we're actually going to be announcing that we're going to be doing it on the last Mondays next month, starting next month. This month, we're still going to be playing on the last Wednesday, which, checking my calendar real quick, that is going to be May 26th. We're going to be playing One Page Mage, who has given us one of his awesome one-page one-shots, so it'll be really nice. Go ahead and check us out again on our Twitch channel, so something to look forward to going forward. And a little bit of our announcements. We have a Discord server. Please come and join our growing community that we have going on there, and we have a Patreon. So I would like to take some time to thank all four of our patrons, Steven, Kristen, Jack, and Heather. Thank you so much for your continued support. And we also have a Ko-Fi coffee. This is just like a thing now.
We really got to nail down.
Yeah, come support our show if you enjoy listening to us and babbling about random things. All right. Shoutouts. I'd like to take some time to shout out a Fate-based RPG called Paranormal Affairs Canada. They contacted us actually recently about their cool little RPG that they're making. Read through a little bit of it. Pretty sweet. It's one of the only RPG settings that's actually about Canada. I'm not Canadian myself, nor is anybody here, but
In my heart.
pretty interesting to have like a different setting rather than America with everything.
Yeah, lots of snow and mooses up in there.
Yep. But in this, players can actually play as agents of the Paranormal Affairs Canada, which is a federal agency there that they are charged with protecting Canadians from supernatural creatures and alien activity while keeping its existence a secret. Yes, Daniel.
Does that mean we can play as Pac-Men?
Yes. I'm going to say yes.
'Cause
Absolutely.
Paranormal Affairs Canada.
Oh my god. Yes. Yes, you can.
Oh.
Anyway, thank you. I
Yep.
want my
The
royalty
door is
check.
behind you. The door is behind you. You can see yourself out.
Actually, it's in front of me, but whatever.
Well, you know where the door is. Get out.
How does it feel to have a joke completely fall flat on a podcast? It's not great, is it?
Kind of like your wish joke last episode.
Yeah. Hurts.
Anyways. This RPG highlights the indigenous folk of Canada as well and their stories, as well as the writer was able to hire indigenous folks to come on and read over the content that they were making, give some feedback to ensure that the content was actually correct and true to the culture. So that's pretty cool. You
Nice.
don't see that
Love that.
very often, and that's super cool. Just wanted to shout them all out. We'll have a link in the description so y'all can check it out.
Before
And
we
this-
move on from that, I just want to go
Yes.
back to Daniel's comment, though. I like how he heard Paranormal Affairs Canada, and the first thing he thinks is, how can I make an acronym Pac-Man? And he just ran with it.
That's where his brain goes.
That was his first thought.
Comedy genius. We respect it.
Yeah, Daniel's actually
Yes,
not here. He
that's
actually
fair.
left.
Yes.
Yeah, he left. He's not here.
Yeah,
He left.
We kicked him all the way out. Hey, can you edit his track out of the...
Just get him out of here.
Sure.
In my defense, I was I wasn't trying to make a joke. It was right there.
No, it was a good joke. I'm pretty.
It was right there,
but
but yet nobody could see it. Kind of like Paranormal Affairs Canada, the federal agency that tries to keep itself a secret.
that was a hell of a segue, dude. Fuck yeah.
Well, okay. We'll have a link in the description. Y'all can check it out. It's definitely worth it. It's on a Drive-Thru RPG, and it's jam-packed full of cool stuff. But for a second shout-out and something a little closer to home, I'd like to announce that RPGs Anonymous, a TTRPG live stream and podcast group, will be playing our encounter that we released at the beginning of April. The Harpy's Bridge. They'll be playing it live on May 31st. So go ahead. We'll have the description, or in the description, we'll have links to their Twitch, their Twitter, and all that stuff. But the encounter is also available on our Patreon. So go ahead and come over there and support us, get a cool encounter. And yeah, so with that all aside, let's talk about some games, movie, and news stuff. First off, of course, very related to D&D, Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft is going to be releasing today on our release date of our podcast,
Cool.
May 18th.
Happy book day, everybody.
So hopefully y'all can go out and pick it up. It has Domains of Dread, which all of the not spoiler content, but the teaser content, that's the better word, talking about body horror and gothic horror, eldritch terror horror type of just how you can set up your entire horror campaign. Sounds awesome.
I'm into that.
They have 30 new and familiar Domains of Dread. They have 2 new subclasses, which including Undead Pact for Warlocks, so that might be up your alley, or College of Spirits if you're into the bards. They also have 3 new lineages, is what they're calling it, instead of races. A Dampire, Hexblood, and then Reborn. And then they have these things called Dark Gifts, which I'm not going to spoil too much into that because that's very much a thing with the Domains of Dread and Ravenloft in general. So if you're playing Curse of Strahd, we'll just keep it to a minimum.
I imagine they're kind of like boons of some kind.
Kind of like boons from evil beings, basically. And then they also have a few cool little one-shot type adventure, I believe is what it was. But anyways, it sounds really awesome. I'm excited to have it. I'm definitely going to be getting it, so go pick it up. But with that aside, I want to talk about Invincible. Invincible is
tell me about this.
Animated series about superheroes. And the best example I have to compare it to something else is The Boys, except animated. But The Boys is a lot darker, I would say. I would say the thing about Invincible is that it's more... It's dark in a way, but it's not like... doesn't get into that deep...
I haven't watched The Boys, but I have read some of the graphic novels before it, which is interesting because both Invincible and The Boys are both graphic novel series. And I, as of the recording date of this episode, had just started and finished watching all of the Invincible first season that just was out. And I definitely enjoyed it. The first couple episodes were very tough. Just to watch. It was really well done, but it takes itself seriously about, and like, I think that's the difference between, like, there's Deadpool, where there's like gore and stuff like that, and where it's really hardcore, but it's a comedy at the heart of it. And this is not. I mean, there are comedic elements for sure in it, but it is a show that knows what it is. It is a superhero show, and that's the cool thing, I think, what Johnny's trying to say about this versus The Boys. I mean, like I said, I can't compare it to it because I haven't actually watched the TV series version of it, but Invincible at the core, knowing that superheroes are kind of based on hope and trying to do the right thing, that is never lost in the show. That is, I feel like, a core thing in this show is doing the right thing. The only problem is, there are things out there that are not great in the show, and it was definitely, like I said, very hard to watch the first couple episodes, just maybe because of the juxtaposition of seeing these superheroes full on. I don't think it's a spoiler to say that there's a lot of murder that happens in this show.
Right. Yeah.
It's
gory as hell.
It's one of those
It's really gory.
shows.
And it like even to the end of the series, it's still hard to watch because it doesn't pull any punches. And I know that The Boys is also pretty hardcore as well, but like I said, it doesn't lose
in
the
a
hope
different
of-
way though.
in a completely different way. Yeah.
Man, I've heard some shit about The Boys.
I think it's the difference between darkness and grittiness. I think The Boys is dark and gritty in that it's grounded somewhat in realism. It's like, what if superheroes and supervillains kind of existed in the world we exist in? Whereas Invincible, and I've only watched pretty much just some clips, but from most of the season, exists in a world that is far removed from ours. It's another world with superheroes, more akin to like a Marvel or DC universe.
100% yes. Yeah. And the one thing with The Boys, I still haven't seen the second season. It's been on my to-do list. I've heard that it's pretty good. I've seen the first season. It's, ooh, man, it just, I would say that The Boys really hits you in the gut, whereas Invincible, it just hits you in the heart more than anything else. I don't know how to describe it other than that.
Both Invincible and The Walking Dead were both written by Robert Kirkman. And what I was gonna say is, while watching it, I mean, I definitely felt really sick to my stomach in a lot of like moments. Just
That's
because
true.
It like I said, it's tough material to watch, even though it's really well done. It's a great cast. You got Steven Yeun. I think that's
God, the cast is amazing.
J.K. Simmons as,
Oh, nice.
Omni-Man.
Omni-Man, yeah. Man, it's just a full cast. You got Jillian Jacobs from Community and a
Mark
lot of
Hamill.
other projects. Is Mark Hamill in there somewhere?
He's the superhero costume designer dude.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, dude. I was using the X-ray mode the entire time, and I kept seeing like, oh man, there's so many people in this dang cast.
Yep, I know. It's on Amazon Prime Video, which if you've ever watched anything on there, which again, The Boys is on this, but it's so cool. The X-ray vision or whatever it is, when you pause a scene, it'll show you all of the actors that are in that scene. So you could see and their picture too. So if you don't know their name, you at least get to see what they look like. And you're like, oh yeah, I know that person. He's Luke Skywalker. Anyways, everybody knows who Mark Hamill is, but
great thing if you have watched the show and you're looking forward to it, they have been greenlit for the second and third season already, which is great. The Invincible was 144 issues long, which now after watching the first season, I'm definitely want to go back and actually start reading it because it definitely leaves off with a lot of things that can happen, and I'm definitely excited for that. But what I was gonna say though, because it both was written by Robert Kirkman for Invincible and Walking Dead, there are several moments in this series while I was just sitting here watching it where I felt like I was playing the Telltale Walking Dead games or any one of the other Telltale games. I'd say more Walking Dead than anything, and it makes sense because the writer, but there's just music cues and like just the ambient music in certain scenes just made me feel like, shit, this is where a decision has to be made. And then, because like in true superhero fashion, I mean, the story, this isn't spoilers to talk about because the main character is a 17-year-old kid who basically is starting to get his powers. He's the son of, basically this world's Superman, right?
Superman, yeah.
And he's just learning basically the responsibilities of becoming a superhero. And like Peter Parker is the most famous for doing this. I mean, all superheroes are to some extent, but I think Spider-Man is the most.
I mean, for like that age range, Peter Parker is probably the
well, sure, but
that.
what I was going to say is how Spider-Man is always neglecting his personal life, and that is a true theme through this entire show, is that he's late to things all the time. He's starting to fail his classes because of it, and it just... those moments are those moments that I would be feeling or playing in the Walking Dead game where I have to make a choice. Am I going to be a superhero right now, or am I going to stay here and actually hang out with
Oh, I
the
get
girl
what
I
you're
like,
saying.
stuff like
Okay.
that. And just like I said, the music cues, I thought several times, I forgot I was watching something. I thought I was playing a Walking Dead game, which is hilarious, but
No, it's super good. The first season is on Amazon Prime Video. Y'all should check it out.
8
But
episodes.
again, there is a content warning. There are some very deep topics there, and then blood and gore. Like, I cannot stress this enough. This happens. Do not underestimate it because
Yeah, not
my
at all.
goodness.
I thought like I was okay with it, and like watching it,
You
like,
have to look away sometimes.
I mean, I watched it the whole time, but it was, like I said, it was really hard, and like I said, I felt sick watching
That's
it.
a lot for an animated show to do.
I definitely felt that too.
This is a spoiler warning for Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm not gonna
So,
go super
Just
into detail.
mute for like 20 seconds, 30
but
seconds.
I'm not gonna get into very much detail, but it was like one of the episodes where, one of the characters does something very bad on screen, and if you guys watch the show, you know
Right.
exactly what I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah.
That's how I felt after that
Yeah.
scene.
Okay. Yeah, I know. What you're talking-
He kicked that puppy.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The puppy scene. You got it. Anyways, so go check it out. Amazon Prime Video. It's an awesome
Sounds
series. Definitely worth your time for sure. Next on the docket, Shadow and Bone. Zach, you wanted to talk about this?
So this is a new original series on Netflix. It's a live action sort of fantasy show. I would describe it as heavily inspired by Avatar: The Last Airbender. It is
Wow,
like,
I'm down.
yeah, but like it's got this kind of, instead of like East Asian inspired, it's sort of like a World War I aesthetic it's going for. And then in like the first like 5 minutes, somebody firebends. But
Nice.
like even down to the core plot is like, I could switch out names and it's the same, like you could switch around some characters, switch some name, like Sokka hangs out with Zuko in this one. No big deal. All
Honestly,
that said,
still down.
It's
So,
based
like-
It's based off of a book series.
of a
right?
novel, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to read it, but so like I do want to say there's nothing wrong with being heavily inspired by Avatar: The Last Airbender, and in fact, this show's really super good. It's
I've
got
heard.
like some really interesting world building stuff. There's a cool like problem that needs solved. Good acting, good action. It's
Is the
really-
Fire Nation attacking?
No, actually, Fire Nation's chill.
Cool. Okay, right on. Change of pace.
So like instead of the benders all being separated, this is one of the cool differences. Like instead of all the benders being separated into the elements, all of the benders are kind of in their own nation, doing their shit, and everybody else is kind of dealing with the Bender Nation, quote unquote.
So it's like season 1 of Legend of Korra, almost.
Sure.
Except they're all. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, but like less focused on the city and more focused on like
The people, and the quest.
kinda. There's like, I don't want to spoil too much. Go check it out. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about within episode 1 and be like, I get it. So like it's heavily inspired, but different enough that it's refreshing and just a really well-made fantasy show. I really enjoyed the hell out
And
of
it's
it.
got that one guy in it.
You gotta be more specific.
He was the brother dude from Westworld, and
Didn't watch
he
Westworld.
was he was the antagonist of the first season of The Punisher
Didn't watch The
on
Punisher.
Netflix. His character, I always think he's funny
Oh.
because his characters never
Ben
make it past the
Barnes.
first season
Ben Barnes.
of any show, so I just assume he dies. Haven't watched it, not a spoiler. Unless he dies, in which case it might be a spoiler, but don't
Now,
listen to me.
Let me find out who you're talking about.
Yeah, his name is Ben Barnes.
Prince Caspian from Narnia.
Oh yeah, this guy. Okay,
Yeah,
he makes
Ben
it to
Barnes.
season 2.
Anyway, so do not. Yeah. Anyway, I just assume he dies because he dies in everything. He's kind of like the modern Sean Bean.
That's hilarious. Actually,
But he's a great actor. So
He is very good. Yeah, all the acting's super good. Cool effects. Good shit. I'm curious to check out the book now.
Yeah, check it out on Netflix, right? First season? That's
first
it?
season. Yeah, just
Cool.
came out like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Daniel, you wanted to talk about the new PS5 game, Returnal.
yes,
How's
I
that?
did. So it's great. I mean, and the main reason that I wanted to bring it up is because it feels like the first real next-gen game. It's the first game that came out on the PS5 that's exclusive to the PS5. You can't play it on PS4, you can't play it on PC, and everything about it is kind of tuned to what the PS5 can do. And what's so cool about it is that it feels like, because obviously for anybody who has a PS5, there's Astrobot Playroom, which comes loaded onto the console, which is essentially a tech demo, but it's a really good tech demo.
I've heard it's very good.
It's mostly a demonstration of what the PS5 can do. This is like the next level up from that. It's a game that is relatively straightforward. It's a roguelike, you restart from the beginning every time you die. Mechanically, it's like pretty straightforward, but it implements all of those same concepts that were in Astrobot Playroom. You get a lot of haptic feedback. The 3D audio is absolutely present. The visuals and like the way that the game runs is unlike almost any other game that I've played on a console. It's so consistent.
It's 60 frames per second, right?
Absolutely.
And I saw like the trailer, which obviously trailers are supposed to look good, but that looked really good.
It's glossy smooth, and it's so good because in these last 2 years, 3 years, longer, but we'll just cap it to that. Games have been coming out half finished, and this game feels finished and polished.
God, well, yeah.
Zach,
after Zach has that, let's talk about that.
I was just gonna say, I remember like going off what we were talking about the trailers. I remember seeing the like reveal trailer or whatever. It's just like a CG movie, no gameplay or whatever. And I was like, this looks weird and boring. It's like this astronaut running through space, or whatever. And then I saw a gameplay clip, and I think my exact words were, ooh, because it looked really fucking cool, like right away, just from like a 5-second clip.
It's a complete package.
Let's go back to that topic that you were saying. Games recently have been being released, half done. Daniel, you're gonna hate me for saying this, but
we can talk about
I
Cyberpunk?
feel like the first time that I actually noticed it was when Destiny, the very first one, was released. That was really,
Okay.
it was, oh man, there was like no story. It was half written. The multiplayer was cool, which it looked like it was supposed to be that, but then they start releasing DLC as if that's going to make, it makes the game better, yes, but you lose everybody at release date when you don't have a full game to play. And then current standards, we have, you guys have been talking about Avengers for ever since it was released.
Well, and I think it's important to make a distinction. There's two kinds of games that come out unfinished. There's a kind of game that comes out unfinished, like OG Destiny, that's missing content. The gameplay is great. The gunplay is good. The game runs smoothly. The game is functional, but not yet fun. Then there's the kind of game that comes out unfinished that does not work, that crashes. Cyberpunk, Avengers, games that do not function, that are fundamentally broken. And then there's the games that come out with both problems, that they don't have content and they're broken. And to be fair, OG Destiny, we can just blame Activision, right? We can stick them all with that. And I will say, Bungie with no Activision has been a lot more consistent. Housemarque, which is the studio behind Returnal, they are not like a Sony first-party studio. They're just like a smaller studio that kind of does their own thing. They're not under anybody else's thumb, so they can make these kind of creative decisions and release the game. They don't have a boardroom full of people that need to release a game at certain time to make money for their investors. So
EA,
I think
we're looking at you.
I think that there are some pretty clear, lines to connect here between these things. But anyway, the game is incredible. I am not that far in. I have beaten the second boss. I think there's like 5 or 6, so I might only be a third in. I'm also bad at the game,
I've heard,
because I think that I've probably put in about like 10 or so hours. And I think that for a good player, there's maybe 20 hours of content. And the way I'm playing it, probably we're going to be closer to 40. But yeah.
Have not played it. Heard a lot about it. The other thing I've heard is that it's pretty fucking hard. So strap in.
It's quite difficult, but it's the first time
but like
for
a
me
good hard.
And I've never liked those games. I have not played Bloodborne and finished it. I haven't played Demon Souls or Dark Souls or any of those other games that are
We'll get there.
Hard. But this feels approachable to me, especially because it's a lot more straightforward, right? You have a gun, you shoot. You don't have ammo to worry about. You just shoot and avoid things.
See,
That's the game.
That's something I really like about, Risk of Rain 2, is that you just, as
another
simple
good
as
game.
that. You just shoot, you don't run out of ammo. I mean, you have the cooldowns for your specials, but like that's...
People
Makes
call
it
this
easy.
game like Hades because it's the most recent roguelike that's been really popular that people enjoy. If I had to pick a game that's similar, then I'd say it's actually just like Risk of Rain. The vibe is very similar.
I beat Hades.
Oh, fuck yeah, you did.
Oh, way to
bud.
go.
I beat it with
Nice.
the Stygian sword.
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to do it with the knuckles for quite a while, and then I finally switched to the Stygian sword, and that was the very first time that I just like
Nice.
went straight
yeah,
through.
dude.
I got the one where you like attack and you get health back, but like it diminishes how much health
Oh,
you
yeah.
have.
Okay. You actually went for that? Damn, I've never been able to
I
beat it with
did,
that.
dude. It works so well. It works so well. But anyways,
That was
beat
your first
it.
clear through Hades, right?
yep.
Keep going. You're not
Yep,
done.
dude. I know. I like.
Okay.
I
All right. Just
the
making
way that
sure.
they
Game's
the
not
way
over.
that they make the game
Mhm. The way they weave in the
replayable
story
is
into the
so great. It's a
fucking
great
masterclass,
game. Great game.
dude.
Anyways, we talked about
Yeah,
it
Returnal's
3
good, too.
podcasts now.
Hey, it's worth it. Okay.
It is. It is.
So
Go
is
check it
Pyre.
out.
Go play
It was
Pyre.
like $20 when I got it on the Switch.
Oh yeah,
but
it's not. Full
anyways,
price. It's like a $20 game. Returnal
so
is also good though.
yes,
Here.
check out Returnal,
Yeah, check it out
PS5
if you're
exclusive.
Great PS5 game. First real one.
Ryan, Bad
Yes.
Batch came out.
So
Star
yes,
Wars
I'm gonna talk
stuff.
about Bad
Oh, I
Batch
was
here
curious
in,
about
in,
this.
in a second. Before I get to that, since we're still on the topic of games, I was recently at my sister's place, and she has an Oculus Quest 2, which is a step up from my Oculus S, and I have not had space in my apartment currently to use my Oculus recently, so it was nice to use it again. And one of the games that she had were the Vader Immortal trilogy of Star Wars games. I didn't actually play through any of the story parts, but I was just playing in the lightsaber dojo, where basically you have a lightsaber, that's all you got,
Oh, that
and
sounds fucking rad.
you're blocking these little drones that are shooting at you, and each time you defeat a wave, you can go up to the next level, and things get progressively, in theory, harder. And then once you get past level 5, you start getting saber drones that you got to fight with, where there's actually like full-on like humanoid-shaped robots that are having lightsabers attacking you, which is pretty sick. So yeah, I played that for a while.
Is it the
yeah.
little? Is it the little zappy drone from episode 4? Is that what you're fighting?
Yes.
Oh, I think
yes.
so. Okay, good.
Yeah, those
Nice.
were the drones that were flying out.
Okay,
and
good.
then
Just making
like I
sure.
said, there's like other droids that would come out
There's
with
cool
lightsabers.
lightsaber drone.
And
I'm
I mean,
into that. That's
they
dope.
they really lead their shots, like they like wind up and then they do it. So you have so much time to block it, but when you have 3 of them at once, it starts getting more difficult, and you have all the drones on top of that too. Like it gets to be pretty cool. And which is really cool because with the headset, it has like the surround sound
3D
headset.
audio.
Yeah, the 3D audio. So you can kind of spatially figure out where it is. So at one point, I was just trying to close my eyes and I was just trying to use the force.
Oh, that's so good.
And I died still, but I blocked quite a few of it before I died. So
Gotta
it was,
practice,
Man, the
man.
force
Yeah.
is strong with this one.
I almost
That's
asked
pretty-
if you did that, so
I did.
good job.
of course,
it's pretty
I
sick.
mean, like I feel like you have to. I
You're
feel
my
like you
fucking
have
hero,
to.
Ryan.
yeah,
Fair
the
enough.
3D audio is really cool with how that works.
That's cool.
Because like
That's
it's
right on.
behind you, and I just try to block it behind me without even turning.
Dude,
I
you gotta
got shot,
like
but-
without moving, just like block a lightsaber, attack by putting the remote over
And
your
of
head
course,
and stopping it and all
one
that
of the-
stuff. Yeah, you have
One of the
to.
limitations with like VR right now is, you hold a lightsaber with 2 hands, but you have 2 controllers. If you can stick the 2 controllers together, but like it doesn't stay together. And the version of the game I was playing was episode 1, where you didn't have force powers yet. I think in the later games you start getting force powers. So I had nothing to do with my left hand. So what I did, I just put that controller down. And I would just double hand
Yeah.
the one controller.
Yeah.
It works
No,
really
it's a good
great.
call.
But
Good
anyways, Bad Batch.
I meant to watch this
more
and
Star
then I
Wars.
forgot.
Yeah, has anybody watched it at all yet? Okay.
No,
Not really
I was going
interested.
to.
It's really great. It's really well done. I'm very curious to see where they're going with it. It's a great continuation of Star Wars Clone Wars, and it also has, elements from Star Wars Rebels in it, which is great too. One of the coolest things, and actually, Daniel, I think you would be interested in it, is you don't need to watch any of the other series to understand what's going on. I mean, obviously, you can just kind of understand based on the movies, but they did a really good job in the first episode, making it very clear what the stakes are and what exactly is happening without having to watch all the background of the other series. Which, because there's so much more depth you get from the series that you don't get in the movies that are just... Anyways. But they did a really good job about introducing all of that in the first 10 minutes. They reintroduced one of the characters that's from Star Wars Rebels. You got to see his, journey escaping Order 66 in the very first
D. Bradley
10
Baker.
minutes. And you get D. Bradley Baker playing everybody.
Every single clone. It's the funniest thing.
Man, that's a good gig. Good for him.
Dude, I mean, okay, I recognize his voice. He's like in everything, and his voice is so iconic. I mean,
plays
If you can get a
Wolverine.
clone gig, you're set for life.
Yeah, he plays Appa and Momo in, Avatar: The Last Airbender. But
And it just,
Good work.
I did watch a preview, and I didn't even know that he was all of them. Like, he's just that talented. Anyways,
See,
this is
and
turning into a D. Bradley Baker fan club. I'm good.
it makes sense, that he plays all the regular clones, but I totally understand what Johnny's saying, because in The Bad Batch, it's about a group of 5 specialized clones that get basically, they're deformed, and they have basically mutated abilities. So you got like a really super strong one, you got a really smart one, you got, just the badass, in general, that is just like a Han Solo type character, but with more of a heart of gold.
From the preview I watched, it looked like a Star Wars Halo Reach. Was kind of the vibe.
Honestly,
I got,
you're not far off. You're not far
which is
off
cool.
at all.
I'm into that.
But what's really cool about this series, and Daniel, this is why I think you'd be more interested in it than you maybe are currently, is so far in the first 2 episodes, which the day that we're recording this, the 3rd episode comes out tonight. They go, because you said, Daniel, you really like Revenge of the Sith, right? You really enjoyed that film.
Just watched it. As anybody who watched our 1 minute one shot, I got lost for a minute, reminiscing about how good that movie is. So I actually did just rewatch it the other day. But go on, please.
So
Good movie.
something that's really interesting about all the Star Wars canon currently, which also, going back to the character from Star Wars Rebels, sorry, my mind's all over the place, but I know some people were upset about how they handled that, because they did handle their Order 66 story in a comic, and they did change it from the comic a little bit. It's very similar, but it's still different enough to where it upset some people. Anyways, I decided to add that in there. But back to my thing about Revenge of the Sith, and current Star Wars canon as is, does not delve into the Empire rising from the Republic. Like, you never see that transition. You just see his speech that Emperor Palpatine gives in the Senate saying, oh, we're the Galactic Empire. But you never actually see the actual changes necessary for it to happen. In this series, you see them actually start explaining why it's so hard for these Jedi to actually live lives after this. Because what they do is they basically identify everybody and like give them like an ID code, and like they change the entire currency from being the normal Republic currency to being the Imperial currency. And if you don't go through that transition process, you basically are shit out of luck. And they make it, how they handled it is they basically locked down an entire planet until the change was completely done. And
That makes sense, yeah.
So,
I totally get it.
There's moments like that which are just really great world building that you just have not experienced before. You also see them phasing out the clones, because that's a huge part of the Empire, is cutting down costs on not basically paying the Caminos or the Kaminoans to make clones. And that's a big part of the series as well, in at least the first episode. And they introduce a new character, which is a small child who is a female clone of Jango Fett.
I was just about to say, why do we get a female clone? We get it
do.
all.
She's a child, but it's not. There's similar vibes between like how the Mandalorian had Grogu in it, and there's that dad relationship almost, but it's different enough to where it's not the same. And also, she's more independent than Grogu has ever been.
Sure.
And there's really cool things, and I don't want to give anything away because it's very interesting what they're maybe doing with her. But
Having a very basic, not a science guy, remember, I went to art school, having a very base knowledge of biology and genetics, I definitely have some questions about there being a female clone from a male donor, because that other X chromosome has to come from somewhere.
And they could just take another X from another.
Well, so I wonder
cell.
if that's part of it, you know? So
I also, in that same vein, have questions about laser swords and spaceships.
Okay,
and
okay.
the
You really,
Force.
Daniel? Really, Daniel? Cloning is what does it for you, not
I'm
the
not
shield?
I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm saying I bet that's going to be a plot point. That's the kind of smart shit that they would probably put in there.
You're right.
I don't know. If they waved it away as space magic, I wouldn't think twice about it.
I wouldn't think twice either.
Honestly, I mean, the Kaminoans have all sorts of things. I mean, honestly, how do these clones have these mutations that make them like completely stronger? There's a lot of things that are unique. And the other thing I really like about their dynamic is it feels really Ninja Turtles to me in a way with the
that makes
archetypes. Because, you know, they have the strong one, the smart one, you know, like
The cool,
there's some
rude
really
one.
great dynamics.
One of them does machines. Got it.
There's not really one that's like the goofy one, like Michelangelo
no
or
party
anything like
dude?
that. But there's not like that. But
Damn.
Dang.
you
I
could
would love
kind
a
of you
party
could kind of
dude
pair
clone.
the party dude kind of with Raphael, the brute basically. They're kind of all mixed into one. But I got some feels like that from their dynamic. But I definitely recommend checking it out. It was really cool to watch. I'm excited to watch the next several.
Yeah, we all got a
episodes.
lot to watch now.
Yeah, there's gonna be 16 episodes. The first episode was 75 minutes. All the other ones are gonna be like 25, 30 minutes. But
Oh, okay.
the first
Okay.
episode was really long, and it felt like a movie. The one last thing I'm gonna say is out of all the series that have come out that they've done, this is the most cinematic one. And like season 7 of Star Wars Rebels, or not Rebels, season 7 of Clone Wars was the most recent ones before this. And that one was really top notch with their quality, and they pushed it even further with this one. So that's the last thing I just want to say is that just the quality is stepped up immensely.
Yeah. So go ahead and check it out on Disney Plus if you haven't already. They release every Friday. So yeah, check it on out. Zach.
What up? What are we talking about this time? Which one? you want?
Well, I mean, up to you. Which one?
Oh, is that all? Okay, so let's go with Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 8 dropped. Have you guys ever played a Resident Evil game? You guys into this at
No,
all?
I don't like scary games.
Oh yeah, and you would not like this game because this game is spooky. I love this game. I'm like halfway through it. This game's fucking incredible. It's a lot like RE7, which was like a first-person shooter. You're going through this like Louisiana like family big plantation house. Only this game is like that, but with a big dose of Bloodborne in there. It's got this like grand like gothic horror aesthetic that I just eat up all fucking day. It's super good, and it's got this good mix of like wacky magical shit happening and like pants shitting terror. It's great. It runs the gambit all over. If you like scary games, grab this thing, turn off all the lights, have a great time. You don't need to play 7. I believe there's like a video recap, so if you want to skip that one, you can just jump straight into this. Ryan, what's up? What do you got?
The only thing I know about this game is all I was gonna say is the very tall lady. That's all.
The very
I
big
know.
lady is
Yeah.
very good. Lady
Step on
Dimitrescu is super hot and very tall, and she's great up in there. And there's another cast of monsters. Shit's awesome. I love it. Can't
What are you
recommend it
playing
enough.
on?
So I borrowed my friend's PS5. And we're going through it together. Looks super good on PS5. All of the graphics are good and pretty, and they make the ladies look very pretty in their ladiness.
Any
it's
fun haptic stuff or anything? They
good.
use it all?
Do a little bit. You know, they put some resistance on the triggers. Nothing like super special. They didn't go super hardcore with that. But it's also, I believe, on PS4, so I don't think they spent a whole lot of time with that yet. Good game.
See, I
Can't
know so
recommend it
little
enough.
about it. Like, I don't even know if that lady is a bad guy or.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
so.
What do you think? It's Resident Evil. Do
I
you
mean,
have
I
friends?
imagine she probably is, but I
One
don't
of the
know.
trends of recent Resident Evil games is in Resident Evil 2, you have Mr. X, who's this big hulking dude in a trench coat, and then you guys probably know Nemesis, right?
Yes.
Have you seen
I played
him?
Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah. So he's this giant monster freakazoid dude with tentacles and a bazooka.
Yeah.
And the crux of like the gimmick in Resident Evil 2 and 3 is that they would like follow you around. Like they'd just be out in the city or the thing and just follow you and kill you. And like if you use gunshot, like they will hear your gunshots, they'll hear your footsteps, and they'll come after you. And so Lady D is the RE8 version of that, where she's this big giant vampire lady, and you hear her high heels like click clacking through the castle as you're walking around. It's fucking terrifying in the best way. It's great. Super, super good. Lots of good scares, lots of good fun times.
I thought we were in Resident Evil for a second there.
Yeah, we heard some crows
Yeah,
cawing in
it
your
was
background, Zach.
it was very spooky.
See, that was actually post. I made the sound effects right now. We're just gonna go back and fix it in post. Anyways, we're gonna now bring it on over to our 1 minute one shot section, where Ryan is going to DM a simple little obstacle that we're gonna have to overcome. Ryan, take it away.
Lay it on me.
I'm pretty happy with this one. Zach, this one's for you.
Oh, I love when things are for me.
You are a group of 5th level adventurers. You've been trying to make your mark on the world, but find it difficult as many of the jobs and contracts have been given to adventuring parties with more experience than you. Luckily, you've been hired by an elderly fellow with a long, dirty white beard to retrieve an object for him. He leads you into the neighboring desert to the mouth of a cave that sticks up above the sand. The elderly man says,
Please, retrieve a silver goblet with a diamond embedded in it. There will be many items of note that might entice you, but I warn you, do not touch any of these items at all costs.
With that, your group journeys into the cave. You travel for a while and find yourselves getting deeper and find yourselves walking through what looks to be an extremely large man-made chamber. After several minutes of walking, you pass through a large stone archway and enter a 50-foot by 50-foot, 100-foot long room. So basically a 50-foot high room. And it's filled with all sorts of different objects and oddities that kind of have a slight gleam to them. However, looking around at all these interesting items, your gaze drifts off to the far end of the room, and there you finally spot the silver goblet matching the description given to you by the elderly man. It rests on a stone pedestal, a magical light almost shimmering off the diamond that's embedded into the chalice. However, as you approach the goblet, you hear a clang of something behind you clatter to the floor. You turn and you see the rogue holding a short sword and a shield rocking and spinning onto the ground. Suddenly, you feel the ground start to shake. A large, thick stone slab slams down, blocking your only way out. Suddenly, you see vent-like openings by the ceiling open up, and falling from them, sand starts to fill this large chamber. You have only a few minutes before this room is completely filled with sand, and you will presumably suffocate and become entombed. What do you guys do?
So joke first. I'm gonna grab the lamp and the magic carpet, and we're gonna fly out of there.
Yep. While lava is filling up the
obvious
entire
answer.
cave.
Okay.
Yeah,
now
obviously.
take this seriously. Okay.
He didn't say we didn't have a carpet of flying. So.
True.
I
So we
didn't
could
say.
just
I
make
just
it
said
up.
that you're in a room with lots of potentially magical items, and there's the chalice at the end, and I said you have a few minutes. So it's not going to be instantaneous. You have, I'd say, maybe up to 5 minutes before this entire room is filled.
Well,
Did the door?
The door is
Closed
completely
behind-
shut. There's no way out of this room.
It closed
currently.
off. Got it.
Yeah.
it is gone. Okay, never mind.
And the room
I
is
went to
pretty dark,
I went to
but-
Aladdin and I was like, I'm gonna wild shape into a giant eagle and
Well, I mean,
carry
with
my
5
friends
minutes,
to
grab
safety.
the chalice
But
and run. But
I'm not gonna do that because our only exit is blocked off. So,
And it looks like the vents are not probably large enough to actually get into, and they're also like at the very top of this room. But sand like an hourglass is just slowly piling up and just spilling over all these magical items on the ends of the room.
man, that's
tough.
rough.
That's a tough
Okay.
one.
So you're 5th level.
Fifth level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One's a rogue.
One's a rogue.
Of course, yeah. The rogue gets left, no matter what. Like he's left at the bottom of this entire.
This is why we don't play
Cave.
rogues.
So it's just sand. Is there any water in this cave at all? No. Okay.
I could create water. I could do that. I'll just make myself a cleric and I'll create food and water if that's what you need.
So then you'll just be entombed in mud instead of sand, I guess.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Damn.
Okay, well, one thing that I'm thinking of is casting Shatter on the stone column that's just in front of the door, hoping that that'll break it, since it's thunder damage, and I think it does twice as much to obstacles or objects and stuff. I think I might be wrong. I'll have to look it up.
I think
But
knock would work too, yeah.
knock on the stone
No, the
pillar?
spell. Knock. But
So the
cool.
way this door came down, it slid down like a portcullis, basically.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why you said knock. That makes a lot more
Yeah.
sense. Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Okay, knock is a good idea.
A heavy,
Knock is a really good idea.
large,
That one's
6
free.
inch stone, wedge, basically.
Okay, well, I think I'm gonna go with my original shatter idea. I'm gonna go ahead and try and shatter the door. I'm gonna go ahead and check and make sure that actually does double damage, because I think it does. Creature made of inorganic materials such as stone crystal has disadvantage on the saving throw. So that's cool.
I had a good idea, but we're not high enough level to use that spell, so that won't work.
I would cast it. I would
As-
upcast it as well,
Okay.
for sure.
So you
Just
could
try
do it
and
as a
just
third level.
break this thing down.
So what's the damage dice on that? That's for like
3d8 at first level,
and 4d8 at third level, probably.
and then 48 at
Cool.
At,
So
or sorry,
I'm
second
gonna
level.
say
But yeah.
it definitely does some damage, but it's not enough with one go.
Yeah. Okay.
But something else I'll just say, as you look around, there are a few magic items that do stand out amongst this room that you can kind of see.
Okay.
You do see a
Okay.
flying carpet, because of course. You do see a bag of holding. You do see a belt of storm giant strength. You do see a portable hull. And
Done.
a spell gem third level. I just messed up my entire
I
thing.
grabbed.
I was supposed to say a folded up cloth handkerchief. I messed that up.
What the
Oh
hell's
well.
it? Oh,
I grabbed the
portable
bag
hole?
of holding
Yeah.
and I yeet right into the portable hole because I want to go to the astral sea. Why not?
What was
I
that
mean-
last?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. What was that last
We're
item?
getting out of here, folks.
You see a spell gem.
Just not the way that we thought.
Okay.
5th level wizards don't have access to 4th level spells, do they?
I don't believe so.
No.
I have an
No.
answer.
God dang it! I can't believe I messed that up. I was supposed to say
Yeah,
it
you
was a
screwed up
folded
real
up
bad.
cloth handkerchief.
But listen, I'm not going to use that with my answer. Here's where we're going. Okay, so we're going to make use of the whole party here. I'm going to have our barbarian slap on that belt of giant strength. He's going to go and he's going to raise up, or he's going to try to raise up the door.
So, okay, go for it. Go, keep going.
Do you need to? What?
Keep going. We'll change your answers after you say everything.
Okay. That's just. But to buy him time, the main idea here is all of the magic users in the party, myself included, wizards probably, are going to start using firebolt and any sort of fire magic we have, blasting the vents to try and melt the sand into glass and sort of blast it into glass to seal up all of the vents and stop the sand from coming in. So I'm making like big glass, not like, you get what I'm saying, like to plug up the vents.
So-
yeah, glass plugs.
Here's what. And then Daniel, did you have your answer yet?
I do have one. I
Go
think.
ahead and do your answer, and I'll go back through it. You guys can.
Okay.
Do maybe.
and then you
another
can tell
round.
us why it's
So
bullshit.
first, before I give my answer, how far up are these vents? 60 feet?
They're about 50 feet.
50 feet? Okay, good. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. My rogue, of course, is come equipped with a handy-dandy grappling hook. I also have a sorcerer in the party, so the sorcerer is gonna cast Maximilian's Earthen Hand. We're gonna see a little fist, a big old fist pop out near one of these vents. The rogue's gonna throw up his grappling hook. Fist is gonna grab that right there. We're gonna take our goblet and probably also, this place is already crumbling, so we'll take that sword that the rogue had and that shield and, some gold too, because we've got some time. And we're just gonna shimmy right up this rope here and just get out through those vents.
He said the vents were not big enough for people.
Well, that's
Great plan, but
you're swimming through sand as you make your whole way.
Yeah, that's
if you
okay
got
though,
there.
because the fist
Once
is
you get
holding
above
it, so
it-
it's it's cool. It's well secured, and then I guess when we get up there, what we're gonna do is call for help.
Help!
What's the plan?
All right.
So that's all I got.
So
What do we got, Ryan?
Johnny, I'll go back to yours first. So you take the
Oh yeah, well I
portable-
make it cinematic. So as the portable hole is opening, the rogue's gonna be like, "But my shield!" And I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna say, "Where we're going, we don't need shields." And then I'm gonna jump inside of the portable hole with my bag of holding and just burn just everything within 10 feet and just yeet it into the astral sea.
All right. So that's what happens there. You leave the rogue there by himself as you zoom into the hole.
Oh, and we're taking all the magic items, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you did it right next to all of them, so they all get sucked in anyway.
Sure, yeah, of course.
So, yeah, you leave him there without a shield. He slowly gets entombed in the sand. Zach.
And then
As he deserves.
I'll have the party wizard, when we're in the astral sea, just do a sending message and be like, "Hey,
Help!
kind
Mom,
of
can you
floating
come
in the
pick us
astral
up?
sea right now. We got your goblet. There's the good thing. I need you to get us out." And that'll be it.
Okay. Zach, as your barbarian picks up and puts on the belt of storm giant strength, he runs over, just with all of his might, he stomps, he grabs the bottom of the stone slab trying to lift it up. However, he finds that his strength has not been enhanced because it requires attunement.
Well, whatever.
Oh,
He's strong as hell,
no.
so he's gonna try it anyway. You know. He's
Okay,
strong.
yeah, sure.
I mean, he's still gonna do it. The main thing is we're gonna buy him some time to get it open.
Sure. So, and then meanwhile, you try to use Firebolt amongst all the other casters to melt this into glass. And because Firebolt does not do that, you're
doesn't do
shooting
that?
explosions of sand everywhere.
Well, we would use whatever fire magic is available. I don't know wizard. I
mean-
never played a wizard. You know, we can shoot fireballs in this fucking room if we need
True.
to.
I mean, it's 50 feet up, so I mean, it wouldn't
Yeah.
hit you.
You know,
Shit's called Firebolt. You're telling me it's not gonna do fire? Come on now. I don't know what I'm
We'll see.
talking
So-
about here.
you at least are able to damage, some of the vents to make it harder for the glass, or not glass, but the sand to come out. And I'll have you do a strength check. And then Daniel,
So also, I'd like to say, since I had that opportunity to think about how I'm gonna get my guys out, so where one of them is a druid. He's just gonna wild shape into like a spider or a scorpion or something. He's gonna crawl out.
okay?
Then I'm gonna have the sorcerer who cast Maximilian's Earthen Grasp use Thunderous Step to get the rogue and him out. And the last dude is a wizard, so he'll just Misty Step or something.
Yeah, you see as all these people transform and thunderstep 100 feet up, which I'd say, sure, with thunderstep, yeah, you're able to get above straight up to the surface. However, the wizard, as he's like, wait for me, he Misty Steps, he goes up 30 feet into the air and he just drops back down into a pile of sand and he's left behind.
No.
Could he miss his step through the? No, I guess you have to see.
I
where
mean,
you're
once
going.
he climbs the grappling hook, of course.
Oh, sure.
Oh, right.
So he Misty Steps once he's up to the vent, so he can see through the vent, so he knows where he's going.
Gotcha.
He might still not make it, because I've never played a wizard, so I don't know how far Misty Step goes.
30 feet.
This is one thing that I want to say. So whenever some chamber is being filled with sand, why do people not just like climb on top of the sand and climb on top of the sand that
I
just
don't know
got
that's
in
how
there?
Quicksand
And
works.
Have you ever
is it quicksand?
gotten stuck in sand before, Johnny?
obviously not. I mean, like,
Because, so if it's really loose sand, first of all, you sink a little bit. And then once enough sand has accumulated, it settles and you are absolutely stuck.
The weight
It's
of
like
it
an-
does
it's like an
compress
avalanche.
well, you could just get on top of it though.
Yeah, but it's like an avalanche. You go into the mountains and you just say, no, just stay above the snow and you're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go
No.
bury
Yeah.
yourself in snow and let us know.
All right. Sounds good.
I don't know what I'm talking. I assume Daniel's correct here. I feel like the weight would probably be an issue, right? Is it
I mean,
like
yeah, have you
compresses on
guys
you?
ever buried yourself in sand before?
It is difficult to get out. I'll
Obviously
give you
not.
that.
Well, you live in California. I figured you've gone to the beach and someone's buried you in sand before. That's like a thing you do at the beach.
I've done that before.
Yeah,
yes.
you never like sculpt like mermaid tits on your bot. Yeah.
I've buried myself in sand before, and you get stuck, and you have to have someone dig you out.
Or you Hulk smash out of there, but it is difficult.
Okay,
it's not easy.
if the person does a good job.
So okay.
Anyway,
so Daniel,
sorry to get off task.
I need you. I'm gonna say the wizard. Even when he gets
Yeah.
to the top of the thing, he's with
Yeah.
Misty Step. He's not able to get out with that.
Okay,
method.
cool. He
I will
dies.
have
That's
you-
fine.
I'll have you do
Bye.
just a D20 roll. This will be an athletics check for the druid to kind of climb through the thing.
Sure.
Or
Roll it
acro-
right
yeah.
now.
And then
Wizzy Boy will turn himself into a bat using polymorph and he'll fly up there.
I got
it.
it.
polymorph is
Sweet
too high of
eight.
a level. Says
I got a
Is it-
sweet
isn't it level
level
thir-
8.
It's
eight
fourth level,
on the
Yeah.
roll.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't know if my druid makes it out.
So okay, and then Zach, I need you with your roll. What was it for your
rolled a
strength check?
4.
It'd be an athletics check.
Got a
4, okay.
4. Proficient
Yeah,
in athletics,
I think we
right?
all
That's
die.
like a 14.
Yeah, with the plus. Yeah, great. So you get probably like a 7. Yeah. So you try to lift this thing, it doesn't budge at all.
Well, we tried. But we're buying him extra time so we can try again.
Sure, do it one more time.
Okay, yeah, let's do it. Hell yeah. We got a 10. What did we say? It was plus 3, so 13.
Plus 8.
Plus 8.
Plus 8. Because
Yeah.
5 for strength, plus 3 for proficiency at 5th level would be
Holy shit.
18.
Johnny with the clutch numbers. Yeah, 18. We lift that bitch up.
Still not enough to
No,
do it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's buried
25 would be
in
it.
sand. Question
Yes, sir.
/ alternate answer, I guess. Could you just kind of hold the bag of holding under the sand and open it up and just suck all the sand in and just keep continually
so
like putting
funny.
it under the sand so that all the sand flows into the bag, and then you have a sandbag
There is a weight limit
but an empty
on a bag of holding.
my
Yeah, we just
ass there's a
learned this the
weight
other
limit.
day.
That thing is
There
an
is
infinite
a weight limit. You're right. But you also have a portable hole. So
Yeah,
just do that,
open
yeah.
that bitch up, and then you have an astral beach in the astral sea.
Yeah, yeah.
well,
I'm just
here's-
chilling over there like, oh, sick. Thanks for sending the sand.
What's up?
Yeah, tell me the answer, Ryan.
Tell me the answer. What would you do, Ryan?
So maybe I misunderstood how the portable hole worked. I thought the portable hole. I think I was mixing it with another magic item. I thought the portable hole was the one that you could put up against the door and just walk through it.
I'm pretty sure that is, isn't it?
Is it?
That's one way of doing
I'm
it.
pretty
yeah.
sure that's what it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought that was gonna be
Johnny
when I
decided
mentioned it. I
to
thought that was
do it
immediately what
differently.
you're gonna do. Just put it on the
No,
door. and walk through
100%
it.
that's exactly what it was, but I wanted to go just to the astral
Yeah.
sea and
I mean,
astral plane.
Here's what I was thinking. I did put the bag of holding there for that reason, because I was expecting that, hey, maybe somebody either says, oh, I forgot to say we have a bag of holding, because there's no reason why you can't say we had this magic
I
item.
definitely thought about
Right,
it.
right. Yeah.
And then, or even being an artificer to do it correctly and saying, hey, I made an infused item, a bag of holding. So you could. There's ways that you could have done it, anyways. My way of doing it, there's a couple different ways. I made sure there's multiple solutions here. The portable hole, for sure, just slap it right onto the door, walk through it, boom, easy way out. Another thing you could do is you could get that belt to storm giant strength. It does take an hour to attune to it. However, get a wizard to do, Lehman's tiny hut by the door, put it on.
Yeah.
There you
not a
go.
bad
You
idea.
can just spend, because
But
Lehman's tiny hut.
Lehman's tiny hut takes 10 minutes to cast.
That's why you
I
buy
know it's 1
time by
minute.
turning
It's
all the
1
sand
minute,
into
I think.
glass.
Oh, 1 minute. Still, 1 minute is
Still.
I
pretty
think it's
long
1 minute.
when you're in a...
I know, but
Yeah, you're right,
that's
you're
why I
right.
specifically said
It's
you
just
had a couple minutes.
ritual
Yeah.
casting is 10 minutes, so 11
it'd
minutes.
be 1
technically.
minute to do it potentially if you want to just use a spell slot on it, and you do that. You have 8 hours of time. You can do whatever you want. You could
Right.
also,
Like a
had you
hyperlock
done
chamber.
Shatter several more times, you could have totally done it. It had 180 health. So as long as you could have done 180 health in that time frame, which it should be more than easily done with 100 or 5 minutes of time. But yeah, I made sure there were several answers that I came up
I
with.
definitely think we came
I-
up with all of the smartest ones.
I like
Yeah,
the
definitely.
I like the bag of holding one a lot. That's pretty funny to just catch.
And we
the sand.
literally just talked about this too. So,
We did.
like in our other campaign, we were like, I gave them a haversack, and they already have an infused item of a bag of holding, and I was like, so somebody said, hey, let's put it inside of that, and I was like, as the wizard, don't fucking do that. That's an awful idea.
That's news to me.
Don't do that. And they were like, wait, but why? And I was like, because you'll just get shunted into the astral plane and I'm not going to come and save you.
It's better than dying in sand.
True.
So at least there's that.
Fair.
And if that guy really wants that goblet, he can come and save us.
The inspiration for this obviously stems from Aladdin, but initially where I got the idea and I started working off it from was from Sea of Thieves, because me and Johnny have been playing Sea of Thieves.
Oh, is that a trap there?
And
That's cool.
there is a vault room where you have to do a puzzle, and after a certain amount of time, it seals up and starts filling with water. So that's where I initially was working off of it. And it's like, well, I'm just gonna make it the Cave of Wonders, and just go off of that.
There's a scene like that, because obviously Cave of Wonders is lava, but this actually reminds me. Do you guys watch the live-action Jungle Book from like the 90s?
I did.
There's a
No.
no, not the new one, the old one. There's
Jeez, Johnny.
there's basically this happens to Mowgli. He gets in a sand room. It's cool.
There's well, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, that was what I had for this one shot.
Right on.
We
thank you,
kind of
Ryan.
did it.
Yeah, I think we did. I think
Yeah.
No,
We
I
nailed
mean
it.
like
Yeah,
the characters
yeah.
kind of. Some of them survived.
yeah, the rogue didn't
Yeah,
on my end,
not-
and the wizard
Well,
didn't on Daniel's
The
end.
last thing I
but-
did, I'm gonna
Most
add
of
to
my-
this. I was initially gonna make this first levels, and
Oh god,
it's gonna
no,
make it
there's
even more
no.
hard. But I decided.
Well, mine would have worked still.
Yeah,
Sure, with magic items you can make it work, but
yeah.
True.
No fucking chance.
Well, thank you, Ryan, for that. That was awesome. For you that are listening, if you're listening on our YouTube channel, comment with what you would have done, because we're interested in that. And if you even have any ideas on to what we should do next, let us know.
Yeah, send me
we're
your
on
one
Twitter.
shots.
Send us a
I love
message.
seeing.
Yeah, I would love to see the situation that you want to put us through. So please do it. But without further ado, let's go into our D&D discussion, which I have mine. It's about keeping campaigns interesting. So one of the things that happens in all games, really, that I see it so many times on Twitter, where people just lose interest. And it's actually happened to me too. People lose interest in a campaign that you're running because it's the same thing, the same characters, and though the story may change through different arcs and things like that, it still feels the same. And I think that we lose interest because of that. So that's one of the things that I was going to talk to you guys about, because I know that I've been running our homebrew campaign for quite a while now. And I know that there has come a point where we are like, okay, I'm kind of over this. What do you guys think about, like, what do you want to do when that happens? Because I know that as a DM, I can come up with certain things, but as players, like, what kind of things have you thought of, and what do you think would remedy that situation?
Well, I think something that has happened recently, and we've talked about it on the podcast, is when we do a complete 180 with the story direction, which can suck at the same time, but it definitely shakes things up a lot. Like, and for our instance that we're talking about is when our party of adventurers went down into this mine shaft, basically on the orders of this wizard order, to basically discover why people have been going missing and what's been going on. And while we're down there, intending to basically figure out what had happened, we get basically enthralled by a mind flare, and having to work for them for a little bit. And that was a complete shift. Rather than, defeating it, just the luck of dice was not on our side, and what could have been an encounter that we could have defeated the mind flare went south really fast, and that
Everybody failed their intelligence check on the very first mind blast that I did, and
It was
just
so brutal.
dominated that encounter. Like, I didn't expect it to go that way whatsoever. And I think I talked about this, like you were saying in a previous podcast, but like, it completely changed the campaign to where it was like, oh, we're just gonna go and kill this guy and then get the loot and go back home.
Now we're
but
gonna
now
be
it's like,
working for an
oh,
evil patron
yeah,
for
we're-
a little bit until we can
yeah,
get out from under his thumb.
which they finally did, and now even worse things are coming. So but that's a lot of fun. Anyways, but yeah, so yeah, definitely having like a 180 change and making it story driven can definitely do something. And even if you're as the DM, like making it seem like you didn't mean to do something like that can also give that facade of like, oh, this is new. This is interesting. The DM didn't mean to have this happen. And now we're going down unmarked territory kind of thing. Yeah.
So yeah, I think maybe I misheard you. Did you say it's good for the DM not to maybe say, oh, I wasn't expecting that?
Maybe,
or,
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm thinking, I'm
almost going to say like, just being brutally honest, I wasn't expecting that to happen. Now we're doing something completely else. I think that's more of a better response in a way, because then as a player, you can feel more in like every choice actually matters. Yeah, it makes it seem like more dynamic. With
that's a good point. Yeah.
I think that it has to be kind of like a two-way street, because obviously there's a lot of improvisation that goes on, and then when things change so rapidly, I think that there's a balance between the improvisation that the party members have to do to adapt to the circumstance, and then there's also on the role of the DM, because when you hit those moments where you're not really sure what you should do next, I know that for me, if I'm like, oh God, I'm stuck, I don't know what to do, I fall back on my character, and I'm like, okay, well, let's try some things that my character might do when faced with this circumstance. And I think that usually where things get frustrating are when I'm trying things that my character would do and they get nowhere. And maybe having the DM find a way to encourage the actions taken by the players to dig deeper into their characters and to find solutions to problems, as opposed to realizing that things have gone south and then coming up with a solution, but then trying to make people guess like what the solution is.
Yeah, I get that.
And then you just get like stuck sometimes, and you can't figure out what the next step is.
Yeah, you get bogged down. Right. Yeah, I totally understand that. I mean, especially with puzzles. My goodness, we have a story.
Oh man, we have several.
Anyways, we're not gonna get into that, but it's like, I think that in those cases when it gets too bogged down, yeah, you gotta go with the rule of cool, or go with like that makes sense, and then just let them have it at that point, because then it's just like, what are we doing next session? Oh, we're still trying to solve the puzzle, and then nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that because it's not fun. It's just
true. Yeah.
Annoying, I guess, in that case. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Game. For me, I think I have two things I think would be good for this. Two separate sort of things. For me, it helps when like the DM has sort of a grand master plan, like something we can look forward and be like, that's what we're working toward the whole time, whether it be like some goal we're going toward, like some plot hook that carries us through all of the sort of mini arcs and encounters of a campaign, some goal we're going towards, some dragon god we need to defeat, anything like that like keeps the story moving as we're going through these different scenarios. I feel like would be really beneficial to keep things, motivated,
Yeah, you can get off track and then come back around.
Exactly. So like you can go off and do side quests. I kind of think of it like almost like writing a book, right? Like you're writing the plot of it as the players are going through, but you have like the idea and the characters have an idea of like where they want to go, and then we need to go off and do this side quest, find this magical item to help on our quest. We know what we're doing. I find that very helpful. On the complete opposite side of it, something we've talked about a little is like, it might help to just take a break from the campaign. Like we've discussed, if we hit a dead end in our campaign, we'll just take a break, put a pause on that one, let somebody else in the group DM for a while, start a new campaign, and just hop along on the different ones on every time you hit a dead end. That way it feels fresh. You get to play a different character, assume a new personality, you get to take on, and something different's happening until, that feels stale. And then you go back to the first one. You're like, oh yeah, I remember what we were doing. This is like, come at it with fresh eyes.
Yeah. And I think that plays into our campaign too, because ever since we started, TXP, we've been doing these one-shots that have been really fun because you get to play those new characters. You get to get those ideas out, and the creative outlet is changing.
Exactly.
And
Something not
it
super
makes-
fleshed out. You get to launch into space and just have
Right.
fun.
Star
shooting shit.
Wars 5e.
Yeah.
Check it out, everybody. It was a lot of fun.
Super fun.
But
Episode 3 is so good, you guys.
it was pretty
Yeah,
good. I
the
mean,
Star Wars
you'll get to
movie.
see Daniel's point where he just loses himself in our game while he thinks about Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting.
Yeah.
I think that's really what it was. I
Actually,
think
it was, to be fair, I was reminiscing about the Dooku, Anakin, and Obi-Wan fight. But
Got it. But it's definitely a good point where if you are in that bogged down campaign point, and as a DM, you all know when that is, when you don't know where the story's going, but you feel like you have to keep the game going so that your friends get to play every week. I know I've had that point multiple times. Even times when you don't even know where you're going because the party decided to do their own 180 and not follow the quest line that you decided to put in front of them. So, in my opinion, clearly, I mean, in the DM's opinion, very clearly, then you don't know what you're doing, and then, anyways, that was my little rant.
I had a moment similar in the Tomb Annihilation game that me and Johnny have been playing in, that I've been running. There was a section where their whole goal from the entire beginning was to get to Camp Vengeance, and I created encounters for them to get there the entire time, and once they got there, I just honestly didn't know what I was going to do because I had not actually fully read the story elements of Camp Vengeance at that point. So I ended the session at the appropriate time. It was at the end of the session anyways, as they got there, and I spent the next week preparing for that, and the entire time leading up to it, I had no idea what I was going to do, and then I found one of the supplemental books that expanded some of the elements in different locations nearby Camp Vengeance, and it actually used Camp Vengeance as a plot hook. So I was like, well, now I know what I'm doing next.
There you go.
And we immediately set that off onto the next section of our journey, where they went to Mbala, and they did a whole thing there, and that's where we currently are leaving it right now. But it was nice to finally get something to click. It's like, yes, this is what's happening now. I have exactly the next several sessions, pretty dialed in with what's gonna happen. Although now I'm at this point again, as they are leaving Mbala and they're going back to Camp Vengeance. I mean, I know that that's what they're doing, but to actually flesh that out, I don't have that in my head 100% because there's things that had happened that I did not anticipate in a true D&D fashion. Namely, having one of the players almost fully die.
Very close.
With a sickness. And then they also now were able to save that player by rescuing an NPC that they were tasked to find. And behind the screen, I think I talked about this, Johnny, but I did not anticipate, I didn't even realize the creature they were fighting, which is a mummy lord, or just a mummy. They had a rotting fist attack.
Hell yeah.
That basically completely makes it so if you're cursed by this fist, you cannot regain health points.
That's bad.
And each day, at the end of each long rest or 24 hours, you lose 1d4 health points. And once you get to 0, you just die.
That's so bad.
Yeah, I didn't anticipate that was gonna happen fully, and so I didn't have anything completely ready
how do you
to
cure
save
that?
them and
Remove curse.
Yeah, remove
Yikes.
curse. And luckily, none of them had that ability, unfortunately. And luckily, the part of their plot hook to go to Mbala was to find some scouts, basically, of the Camp Vengeance, which was a camp of paladins and clerics and stuff like that. So I was able to write, they were supposed to be dead. All the people they're trying to find were all supposed to be dead, but they had not found where they were going to find the bodies yet. So I just made so one of them were alive, and they saved them, and they got removed curse from the paladin. So
Merciful.
Yeah. It
However-
makes sense.
now they have this NPC that's with them that's missing a leg, and now they have to journey through the jungle
deal
with
with
this
that.
wounded. Yeah, this. Anyways,
Yeah, you
that
gotta
was a
remove
tangent,
curse out of him.
but-
You can be done with him. You just leave him. It's fine.
Yeah, and another thing that I was thinking of, in order to keep everything interesting, is even just taking a break from TTRPGs, you know?
True,
Like,
yeah.
play video games, play
Sometimes it's good to
Tabletop
get together.
Simulator,
It's a fun one.
but play card games instead, or play Sea of Thieves,
some
or
Among Us.
Phasmophobia, or whatever game you want to play. I mean, like, just hanging out with the buds.
With the
See,
fam.
I know we play Jackbox games, with
Mm-hmm.
other party games, all sorts of games like that are always
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
But-
And then, like what you were saying, Zach, I think keeping a clear quest line, clear reason as to what everybody is doing always helps.
I think it would
Because
be
I
beneficial.
was just realizing this because I'm more recently more of a player, but still kind of new to me. But with Ryan running that Tomb of Annihilation, we had a clear quest line the entire time, and I was having fun playing it. So I guess that's another thing that you have to keep up, is just having a clear route
exactly.
that
Like, I don't want to crack open this argument again. We've aired our dirty laundry. We're past it. But like at that point in the story where we refused to go on that quest you set up for us, we were just kind of hanging around in the city with no idea what we were supposed to do. So there wasn't a good, like, we couldn't see anything on the other end of that quest that made it worth it. You know what I mean?
that's because I didn't have anything.
Yeah. I was wondering if we were gonna mention that or not.
I know, and that happened. That's okay.
No, I didn't have anything. And
Yeah.
I think what I should have done.
And that's one of the challenges, is trying to come up with stuff like that for your players to get to give them reasons.
I thought I did, but really what I should have done is I should have said, listen, everybody,
Yeah.
I ain't
And-
got shit.
And that
Y'all wanna
It's perfectly
just wait a
acceptable.
week and I can come up with something so that it's actually fun. But if I
Happens.
didn't do that, then it wouldn't have led to all of the series of events that we've been in.
It's true.
And I
We went
think that
through
it changed the campaign for the better. But-
Just talking about our campaign a little bit more, from the beginning of the campaign, where basically we were a group of just random, basically mercenaries hired to transport the, this character, or not character, it was goods. It was yeah, that's what it was, goods. Yeah, we were transporting a cart of goods to this small village, and some of the other party members, had different specific tasks that they had to complete in, the village, like delivering a letter from a specific wizard, which honestly, that kind of, I feel like, is our main plot at this point, is that idea.
I agree, but 90% of the party didn't know that was happening, so
Yeah.
it made it difficult for us to participate,
Yeah. So I think
And that's okay. Secret
overall,
missions are good too.
I was actually going to argue the exact opposite. I was going to say, might as well just let everybody in on like the
Okay,
secrets,
let me
because
amend that. Maybe not plot critical secret missions.
well, sure. But I mean, because it's at the heart of it, it's a role play game, anyways. And when there's huge sections of the game, I mean, I say huge sections, they're not like super large, but like when there's sections where the DM is only talking to other characters. For instance, like a big part that's happened in our game is Zach and Johnny have gone off into their own room and they've talked for a while, which is fine. You can do that.
Because, just to clarify, the reason why is because Zach's character is a warlock, and the warlock made a deal with a very evil patron unknowingly, and I didn't want everybody to know exactly what was going on behind. I mean, everybody had their suspicions because of the way that everything,
Yeah, the
the
way that
magic works and all of that stuff, but I didn't want them to know exactly what was happening.
Sure, but
Which,
I would argue in the favor, there's no reason why you can't know that, because like I said, it's a role play game at the heart of it. Like, it's not going to change ultimately that much. I mean, it shouldn't, and
I think it really comes down to what the players want, really.
That's true.
Honestly, I would argue that that if I were to tell all of you, hey, Zach's patron is super fucking evil, yeah, it would change the way that you would interact with him, I would say. But at the same time, I think it's what you're trying to get at is a good point, because it is a game and you guys are trying to have fun. Knowing all the parts of the game makes it easier to traverse through. So I understand what you're saying. Zach, what were you going to say?
I was just gonna say that, I feel like us going off into that secret room added a certain air of mystery Again, I think like you were saying, it comes down to the players. Like some people could really enjoy that sort of mystery. They don't know the whole thing is going on, and then eventually it got revealed when all that shit happened, and it's out in the air. It's a cool reveal. Or I feel like if we did do that out in the open, everyone knew what was going on. If the players could like do a good job of like understanding the difference between what they know and what their character knows, there could be some real fun out of like acting as a character that doesn't know what you know. I always feel like that's interesting to play out.
I thought it was great, especially because at the very beginning of this campaign that we were on, each of our characters, because of the way that we'd created them and we'd worked with Johnny on them, we each got to have those moments. But then, Ryan, your character died, and you had Ezra. But I think because of the way that character was created, you didn't create him with Johnny, at least not in the same way that I know that I created my first character with Johnny. I think you lost out on some of those moments. And then for me, I had some breakaway moments with Frangipani, but now Frangipani is dead, so the rest of the party will never get to know exactly what went down in those meanings.
Backstory was.
Spoiler alert, basically all that was going on was that Frangipani was basically a huge criminal and was on the run for like stealing a bunch of valuable things and also being an illicit magician and trying to, find his childhood friend. So he was buying and bribing golden guards to keep himself out of trouble, but he didn't want anyone to know that he was in trouble. So that's mostly like what I was getting up to. But then Frangipani died, and my new character hasn't had any of those breakaway moments yet, but also because he's pretty brand new. He's only been in 2 sessions. So
there was a moment, we could tell a quick story. There was a moment where Daniel's character tried to push Ryan's character off a cliff, and the rest, like, everyone saw it. It was completely in the middle of the, like, I think you used, like, Thunderstep or something that pushed all the characters, and you're like, and I'm gonna aim it specifically so that it pushes this enemy and Ryan's character.
It was sleep. He tried to cast sleep on all of us right next to the edge of a cliff.
Was that it? But you specifically mentioned that you wanted to hit Ryan, and all of us looked at that and went, that's sus as fuck. And then no one brought it up ever again.
I'll be perfectly honest, don't remember that specific instance. I'm sure I did it.
It was in the Orc Fortress.
Sure I did it.
I remember thinking, don't stand next to Frangipani during battles, because that's...
He didn't like Ezra, though, so that's fair.
That was Sebastian.
What I was going to say is Daniel said, I made this character, and didn't do this with Johnny. It was 100% incorrect. Me and Johnny crafted the character from the very beginning. We created the whole plot thread that I was trying to help lead us on. And like I was trying to upfront on all of it. I wasn't trying to be secret about any of it. That's what I was trying to say is having these secrets makes it so if you come across me who's being very open about everything, that makes it so you guys don't trust any of that, which is fine roleplay wise. But like at the same time, as we talked about, it's a game. But like I said, that's the part that sucks about having any secrets is it ruins that part of the game. Is having secrets. I don't know. That's why I don't.
No,
like
I totally get what that is, and I think that what we're gonna get at is a very happy medium where characters have secrets, but when it becomes an issue, that's when it's like, hey guys, roll with it. This is a thing of my character. Please just I want you to be involved with this. And then also, Daniel, one reason why you may not have seen the backstory work that we did was because
we skipped that question.
A lot of that you guys weren't involved with because they were out looking at, his backstory. They were doing the stakeout of the place that you guys were quote unquote supposed to go to, but we did an entire session where
without you guys,
didn't see the results of. But yeah.
Shit. I had a thought. Hang on. Hold up. I had a quick thing. Fuck. Oh, so that's what I was gonna. Okay, so just like we were talking about a couple episodes, just be cool, go with the flow, go with what your DM is gonna say. The new point I was gonna make is going back to keeping the campaign fresh and interesting. When a character dies and someone has to come in with a new character, do you think that's a viable way of moving along the plot of the new character coming in and saying, I got this shit I need to do, can you guys please help me? Because we've done it a few times, not just Ryan's character, but back in the day, there's been like, I need to go get this magical item. Will you guys help me? And we say yes because we need him to play. But do you guys think it's a viable way of rolling that all in, keeping it interesting?
It really depends on how good of a storyteller you can be and how good of an actor you can be for your character as well.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because you need to be able to sell the idea first. There comes down to it's a game, roll with it. But if we're getting into like the really nitty gritty, you have to be able to sell your idea. And if you're not able to sell your idea, some people wouldn't want to do it, obviously. I think that going back to Ryan's old or new character, I guess, when he made his new character, Ezra, he sold his idea really well. It's just that you guys didn't want to do it. You guys didn't want to be a part of that type of a quest. And I think that's what the issue was.
I wanted
is
to
that,
join them.
Exactly. He wanted to kill them, you wanted to join them,
Still
and that was the issue. And it was a like a thieves guild, murder guild, kind of assassins guild, type of.
So yeah, the character that tried to
guild.
kill one of your own party members off of a cliff wanted to join the murder guild.
Yeah, I know. Big shocker.
Who would have guessed?
But, like, I remember
that's the issue.
Way back in the day, we were playing with somebody who's no longer with us in our party, not dead. He's probably still, I don't know. But we like introduced his, we like grabbed his character and we were like, hey, can you come on this quest with us? And he was like, yeah, but also I need to go, what the fuck was it? Get this book from a siren or something. And we were like, sure, we'll get to that eventually. And we just never did. Talk about pill.
Oh,
remember?
right.
So we're like, hey, you're a cleric. Come with us. And he was like, yeah, but only if you help us with this. And we were like, we'll get to it eventually. We just didn't. So that was one of the weaker times we tried that.
Well, and we were pretty new.
Still, but like
we were pretty new.
I just feel like that was an example of like
Yeah, absolutely.
not weaving
My
in
new
the
character,
story, you know?
very go with the flow.
He's a chill dude.
It's
Yeah.
very chill.
All right, well, that ends that. Hope we kept your interest in that random
I hope that was
discussion.
enough of a narrative through line to
Yeah.
keep it going.
Well, thank you all so much for listening to our podcast, Talking XP. If you like what we heard, we release these podcast episodes every third Tuesday of each month. Like I said, if you have any topics or ideas for one shot or 1 minute one shot, please
Or D&D
comment,
stories.
like
Come
our
set. Yeah,
videos,
yeah,
like our podcast, leave a rating if you wouldn't mind, and subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Twitch so you can watch our one shots of the month that we're doing and our streams that we're doing every week. A lot of fun there. You can follow us on all of the social media platforms as well. Most of them are talking_XP. I think the only one that's not is Facebook, which is just Talking XP. But anyways, thank you all for listening. Make sure to level up and we'll see you next time.
Bye.